Hi, I'm Justin. I'm a host of the podcast. This is Shane. This is not intended to create a lawyer-client relationship or be legal advice. If you need that, call us or call somebody else. We have another esteemed guest again. Introduce yourself, bud.
I am Austin Beaumont. I am running for District Court in Department 8.
Man, that was way better than the other ones because he said what he was doing at the beginning.
Right at the beginning,
Dude, we screwed Alicia because she's a good buddy of mine. And so, like, we were talking and we talked for 50 minutes before we even got into the judge stuff. Just because I was just chopping it up with my
by the
homies.
way.
Yeah, and then it's like.
But selling it on the person first, I guess, rather than here's what I'm doing. Like, this is why I'm here and that's it. But,
when I was driving over here this morning, I was trying to remember how did we officially meet? Like, what was our first case? Because it wasn't.
It was John Hastings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, out of Boulder City.
That was a wild case.
Yeah.
You want to tell him what the allegation was of that happened in that case?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. How to summarize everything in that case. So John Hastings Sr. Was and is a dentist out in Boulder City, and he liked to invest his money in buying precious metals, coins, literal bars of gold, and he had a safe for them. His son figured out the combination to that safe and stole, at the time it was worth $1.5 million worth of gold bars, silver bars, coins, and so on. And he couldn't even carry it all. He had to enlist the help of a couple kids that he knew. And at some point there was literally them rolling down the streets of Boulder City with a little red radio flyer wagon full of coins.
With $1 million in gold.
$1 million in gold coins.
You've never told me about this case.
I think we wrapped it up before you came on.
Okay.
Yeah. So he, he sold right about $500,000 of it through different metals buyers here locally, and then he realized he couldn't wash it all locally, so he went to Idaho and went to specialty dealers, sold about $500,000. Currently, there is somewhere in the range of what was worth $1 million and is now probably closer to $2 to $3 million in gold. We believe buried somewhere in the desert around Boulder City. We believe that Mr. Hastings is waiting until he ultimately paroles and goes to dig that amount of money up.
Well, you already charged him for it, so can't charge him again.
Not that I'm encouraging anyone to go out with a metal detector or anything.
Man, I tried.
I wanted to make very sure of that.
I tried because I was like, listen, bro, I think the only way you don't go to prison here is if you tell him where it is. And he's like, it's all gone. He swore up and down.
Yep.
Spent?
Yeah. Well,
How old?
Well, he looked like he's about 15, but he was what, 20?
Yeah, I want to say he was just old enough to drink, so 21, 22.
Like he turned during the case.
So did we skip over the fact that you're a prosecutor? I mean, it's
that too.
In the part of what we're talking about.
Right.
Currently, you're Clark County District Attorney.
Yep.
Okay. Prosecutor. That's going against each other. Justin on the defense side.
Yeah.
Mr. Beaumont prosecuting. Were you on? Is Boulder City part of like the what do they call the outside lands? What exterior? What do they call the
Outlying?
Outlying.
Outlying.
Is that you were on outlying at the time?
Yeah, so we don't anymore, but we had an outlying. We called it the outlying track, and it was basically everywhere that wasn't downtown Las Vegas. For I don't know, 10 years, we had a outlying specific track. So that was everybody in the Clark County District Attorney's Office prosecuting the crimes actually across Clark County. So we're going down to Laughlin and Searchlight, Boulder City, Northtown, Henderson, Mesquite, Moapa Valley, Bunkerville. Weird crimes out of Bunkerville, surprisingly.
Really?
It's a small town, but they pick up a lot of stuff because people are coming through the highway. So we got a lot of like
trafficking
trafficking, some local, what do you call them? The infamous local fellas that everyone always has a problem with. You know, that one young man and then in Searchlight.
Frequent flyers, you call them?
Yeah. But it's scary. I'm sad that we ended that outlier court because it introduced all the new attorneys to the county because we're the Clark County District Attorney's Office, but for so long, most of the office was just focused on Las Vegas. So that gave us an opportunity to meet everybody out in the outlying towns and remind them that, hey, you know, we care about you guys too. You know, we're here for Laughlin, we're here for Moapa, and you guys have an issue out in Mesquite. Well, we're there too.
Right, because the entire county is the purview of the DA's office.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a wild case, man. And his dad, Like all the things that he told me about his dad that I put in the sentencing memo, I believe to be true. I think they had a very bad relationship.
They did have a very, very bad relationship. That's a very
and two wrongs don't make a right, for sure. I'm not saying that he should have stole from the dad, but
and that's the sad thing is a lot of these cases that we see when it involves family versus family, that's the worst kind of thing because no one's ever rational.
Sure.
Unfortunately, there's just too much emotion involved, and no one's really doing the right thing because it's just that kind of internal anger towards someone close to you that's hard to get rid of.
Yeah, I think if a stranger wrongs you in X way, it's okay, whatever. Right. But if your girlfriend or your dad or your brother, it's a different thing because you're putting another spin on it.
Yeah, it's something that you kind of have to live with every day because you're probably going to be seeing them.
Maybe. Definitely not getting an invite to Thanksgiving anymore. I can assure you that. What did he end up getting? He got like a 5 to
15,
I think.
If I want to. I believe that was. Yeah,
it's wild, man.
I
told him, I was like, bro, with how you look, because he looks like, like back in high school, we did like the flippy skater hair, right?
Yeah.
He has big old flippy skater hair. He looks like he's 15. He's about 6'1" and 155 pounds. Just a little kid. He looks like a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure High Desert has not been pleasant for him at all.
Well, I do feel bad for him. There's, no matter what kind of case we get, there's always a human element on every side, like you were saying.
Sure.
There's a rough relationship with him and his dad, and it had been for at least a decade. So you see that side of it and what it does to.
So since he
kids.
was a child.
Yeah, since
which
he was
is the other
child.
weird part. Like, because if it's me a decade, okay, I was 30, right? Whatever, I was an adult. But when you're talking about a 10 or 11 or 12-year-old, then it colors like some of that interaction. It sucks. And that was the next question I was going to ask you. When you have those cases where there is that weirdness, like where maybe there's an uncharged bad act, and obviously you're not bringing it up, but you can tell that the victim has wronged the defendant in a way that probably maybe would have been culpable in the past. Like, what do you do with that? Like, it's got to be difficult to handle, right?
So thank you for bringing that up. That's most of what I'm doing right now. So in fraud, it's unlike normal criminal cases that you would see. Let's say you've got a assault with a battery with a deadly weapon, right? Say someone just simple crime, someone gets stabbed, right? There's no. It's terrible.
I love that. I know where you're going with this, but I love that with fraud, it's like, listen, simple crime, someone got stabbed. It's fine.
Yeah, it's obviously bad. We all know that's bad.
Real few moving parts.
Right, but we know what happened. There's no confusion there. Okay, good. Obviously that's bad, but we know what's going on. When we get cases that come into fraud, there are so many moving parts, and we have to spend weeks, if not months. I've spent over a year investigating cases that come into our department because when you're saying, hey, there may be some back and forth between the victim and the defendant that we don't know about, we dismiss many cases. When cases come in front of me, I'm always looking at them from a fraudulent standpoint of, okay, is there even fraud here in the first place? Is this a business deal gone bad? Is this someone trying to right a wrong that they feel entitled to, and have they filed a criminal complaint against someone to get even? Because we have that, and that happens.
Like if it's a jilted partnership or something like that, like, oh, hey, you weren't a good manager with me, and I'm just pointing at him because he's my partner.
Yeah.
Business is screwed, had to file bankruptcy, fuck you.
Yeah.
You sort of swore already.
I lasted 9 minutes, though. Shut up. That's pretty good for me.
I'll try to keep the facts as vague as I can, but to that effect, yes, we had a case in which the defendant had priors for fraudulent related offenses, and the partner accused the defendant of stealing a great deal of money. And at first, it sounds like everything matches up. It looks like theft. It sounds like fraud. The entire case that's presented to us from the victim to law enforcement gets to us. So we start digging into the case because there are some things that don't really smell right. And we look at the financial records. What had happened was this victim had gambled away the amount of money that they were claiming was stolen. And when this victim found out that the defendant had a criminal past, which was not something that was known up front, the decision was, well, I'm going to accuse my partner of stealing this money from me. And no one's going to believe them because they have
away with
priors.
it too, but for your little dog.
It feels like this is the moment when we feel vindicated and always saying purported victim, right? Purported victim.
Right.
Yeah.
That is not the victim at all in the slightest.
So
That
in
is-
those situations, generally speaking, once you figure this out and they've filed a false police report, I'm assuming that the hammer gets dropped on their face.
And I bring them into my office and I explain to them exactly why I know they've been lying to me. And I deal with witnesses because you know that those type of people who are fraudulent in and of themselves are going to cause a problem.
Sure.
They're going to make up some other sort of story. They're going to pretend that their rights are being violated. And I don't think it's my job to prosecute blindly. I'm concerned about every one of the parties because I'm concerned about constitutional rights for everyone. They apply to everyone. It's not if you're a defendant, it's not if you're a victim. Your rights are your rights. So when I have had those cases, and I've had many, unfortunately, we make those victims come in and explain themselves. And then we give them a chance to tell the truth. And then we confront them with, look, we know you're lying to us. And some of them will double down. They will swear on everything they hold holy that this is the truth. On whomever they decide to swear on, yeah. And
Well, I
then
mean,
we'll
you know
have to
it's serious
confront
if they swear on. If they put it on their mama, you know it's serious.
No, and then we come in and we say, look, these are financial records. Your financial records don't lie. This is like DNA testing.
Your mom's literally not involved in these at all.
Oh no, there's no mothers are in these documents. This is all you going to Palace Station for the last 3 years. Okay.
Why would you go to Palace Station?
Oh, why not? It's right off the freeway. Excellent location.
We've had a
Quite
good
few
crime at
hotel rooms.
Palace Station. We had a case of outside Palace Station.
Huge.
Yeah.
Back in
oysters are
1996, that's where my parents stayed for the first time when we moved to Las Vegas too. Palace Station.
Is that where you were conceived?
No, I was already alive
Oh,
and 8 years old at the time when we moved here.
This is where we.
This
is
is
it.
not where we need
Hold
to
on.
live.
well, Palace Station probably would have been much nicer back then.
Yeah, I would guess.
I mean,
Green Valley Station didn't exist at the time. I remember when
Yeah.
that was built, but
I don't think the Bellagio even would have been there in '96.
I remember when the Bellagio was built as a kid. So
Yeah, so
I remember it was the new hotness, right? It was super cool when.
I mean, it's still pretty cool. Those fountains.
It is
are dope.
cool.
And the flower garden that you can walk through for free every 3 months. It's like this big art installation. Like it's pretty cool. My kid loves it.
All right, Austin, I want to ask about your history because I don't know much.
Sure.
I can look you up and see that you graduated law school from the University of Idaho. Go Vandals, I
Correct.
think, right?
Vandals.
Where? Yeah, they're the Vandals. I don't know what it means. Where are you from? What?
I know what a Vandal
What
is.
brought you
Yeah.
to Vegas?
So what brought me to Vegas? What happened was my first year, I applied for an internship with the Department of Division and Insurance up in Carson City, doing insurance law. And then while I was there, I got introduced to bail law because bail is a surety, so it's governed by the insurance statutes. Once I got into bail law, I got really interested in criminal law. So while I was down here, I went to a convention where now judges Christina Silva and Judge Eric Johnson were doing a hiring for interns for the U.S. Attorney's Office for the next year. So I said, all right, hey, I'm in. Let's do this. So they chose me to come down and do an internship, and I worked for the Organized Crime Strike Force, and I did that for the summer. And while I was there, now Judge Johnson said, hey, my wife works at the Regional Justice Center as a judge. They have a bunch of judges there. That's where you can get some judicial clerkship experience because at the time, I think still, you needed 2 years of actual judicial clerkship experience to be a U.S. attorney.
Even with DOJ honors, were they doing DOJ honors when you went through?
They were, yeah.
But you got to be like Ivy League, like some kind of special or former JAG or whatever.
Well, back then, right?
Right.
No, I mean, I think now.
Now the U.S. Attorney's Office is having some issues, but
Well,
we'll
I
gloss
thought,
over
you
that.
know what? Hey, you know what? I like this U.S. attorney's thing. Let's do the clerkship. So while I was doing the clerkship, I got introduced more to the Clark County District Attorney's Office. And while I was doing that, I was learning civil law through Judge Miley, through Judge Early. I loved civil. We got thrown into that whole super priority HOA lien crisis back in 2014. But ultimately, I decided that I wanted litigation experience. I wanted to be a trial attorney because if you want to be a district judge eventually, you really need trial experience. So that was the main reason why I went into criminal law. to do trials. And because I like the pace of criminal law, civil is great, but it takes a long time to get from A to Z to trial speed. It takes years and years and years to get to that point. And that's great, but I wanted, let's go right now. I want to do some trials.
You want to invoke? Great.
Cool.
Let's do it.
All right, I'm ready. So that's how I ended up just here where I am. But where I'm from originally, I was born in San Diego. My family moved every 6 to 9 months growing up. My dad was an engineering contractor, so he'd get hired for engineering jobs. We'd go to rural town after rural town, and he was working for the phone company, and he was installing and designing phone systems, like literal landline phone systems for cities and towns so far out in the middle of nowhere that they didn't have those. So that actually still existed into the 90s. So up until that point, we were just moving all over the place. So I went to Alaska and Washington and Idaho, Colorado. We did farming and ranching for a while down in Colorado. We bought a farm down there while my dad was in a longer contract position.
What was the shortest contract?
Oh gosh, I want to say 3 months.
That sucks.
When I was a kid in first grade, I went to 3 different schools. So yeah, it was just every couple months it was something else.
In my head, I'm like, it's a year, maybe 6 months. That sucks.
So you got your introduction down. You know how to introduce yourself. That's why he was so good at the beginning, introducing, because he's done it dozens of times.
We're not good at interviewing, though.
I've been the new kid. I don't know how many times. Every school is just like, oh, okay, you're the new kid. Yeah, I know. I got to go through this whole thing. Nice to meet you. Hi. You're gonna like me. Just give me a second.
If you have.
Just give me a second.
If you have.
I have a question about that, though. Did that screw up your ability to play sports?
No, actually. So I was a multi-sport athlete. I played, everything. I started off, of course, in soccer, because that's everywhere. But I was football, tennis, did track, basketball, baseball, really anything that I could, anywhere I could. So I could just pick it up and go to any sport.
Depends on what season they're in.
Well, yeah,
when he moves.
Right. The reason I'm asking is the eligibility can be screwy if you move in the middle of a year.
It can be.
You got to I think there might be exceptions for kids like you, growing up where your dad got moved or maybe they PCS if they're in the military or whatever. Right. But I know that there were kids in my school that were really good athletes and some a divorce happened or something. And so then half of the family moves over here. They transferred to our school. They couldn't play that year. Right. And it just sucked for them. And so I'm sitting here thinking as you're talking through this, oh man, this guy might have just got hosed his whole life and not been able to do normal kid stuff,
No, not at all. It was great for me. I adapted to it because when you grow up like that, that's all you know. So
Sure.
it doesn't seem crazy when since you're a little kid, it's Christmas Eve, great, we unwrap our presents. Now we're going to put them back in boxes and we're moving. That happened when I was in Everett, Washington. It was the Christmas Eve. We opened up all of our presents, then packed it up, got in the moving truck, and then we left.
So you mentioned Alaska, and you're talking about rural phone line development. Mm-hmm. What are we talking about here? Past the Kenai?
Oh, yeah.
Way.
Oh, yeah. So on the Kenai, so we would do combat fishing on the Kenai. You've done combat fishing?
Uh-uh.
So combat fishing is when you're standing just shoulder to shoulder with people along when the sockeye are running back. So there are so many.
Oh,
there is no, they call it combat fishing.
Yeah,
so you're casting, and all you see is just this river full of sockeye on the Kenai coming back to spawn. So that's a hoot. We spent a ton of time up in Fairbanks and around North Pole.
That's remote, bro.
Yeah, it was pretty remote.
I loved Alaska, but I didn't get that far up. And I missed I went in late July, early August, so I missed the majority of the run, but I didn't know that was the name for it. But I've seen that where those people are standing there and they're literally yanking them out of the water as fast as they can get their pole out.
Yep.
That's
no limit
wild.
during spawning season. Or there probably is now, but when I was a kid, there wasn't.
It changes. They change it every year. It depends on the numbers. When I went up, by the time I'd gotten there, they knocked it from 6 to 3 a day because the numbers were down. But at first it was 6 and it started at 12. So they vary it based on year, but also based on what's happening in that month.
Right.
They change it. Which
Just
is,
the Fish and Wildlife checking.
Yeah, no, I think it's a little bit smarter. It's because it's more dynamic. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. So was it weird to live in one place then? And I'm not trying to be a jerk.
Is Las Vegas the longest continuous place you've lived?
By far.
Okay.
By far. No, I got down here and I bought a house back in 2015 and just gutted it completely, tore it down to the studs, rebuilt it, tore down everything outside, rebuilt it. decided that, this is where I'm going to set up roots and I'm going to make, my life here. And it's been nice not having to pack up every couple months.
Yeah.
It's nice getting into a routine of things.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I really like moving because I do get to like pare stuff down, and it's like, oh, I'll get rid of that. I'll get rid of it. And then when you move, you're like, I'm not taking that with me.
Oh, yeah.
But moving sucks. So like, there's an element of it that I really enjoy because it's kind of like, you get rid of some stuff that you didn't really need or whatever. Because I try to move Spartan, but I hate moving, so I cannot say that I envy your childhood, bro. That would suck. But at least it wasn't like, it was normal stuff, right? Your dad's got a job, and so the whole family moves. That's better than like,
right.
A lot of other kids, but still, that sounds awful.
That would help you keep the essentials, though, I guess, right?
Sure.
You're not a pack rat or anything, I would guess.
No, and so my mother, I moved her down to Las Vegas too, because she's, oh gosh, how old is she now? 75. And I wanted to keep her, close so I could, keep or watch over her and make sure that she's okay. And when we finally moved all of her stuff out of storage and so on, we were opening up boxes from Alaska that she sealed in Alaska and has not opened since we were there.
Dude.
My brother and I came into town and we went through all of her boxes and said, look, we've got to pare you down. We found 34 spatulas across a number of different boxes.
75, so let me think. 1950, I don't know. The reason I'm thinking about it, because my grandpa grew up during the Depression. He was a little kid.
Yeah.
And when he died, he wasn't even a smoker. He had like 9 ashtrays.
Yeah.
And it's because there was like that, like if you find something and it's useful, you keep it because you might be able to trade it someday. And so I was thinking about but I don't know if that would really apply to her. Maybe it's because of her parents.
No, that's a generational thing. It's a lot of folks in my family around that age.
My parents are like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to buy this thing and I'm going to buy it for life and I'm never going to get rid of this thing. And then I'm going to do that 17 more times this week and I'm going to make sure that I have, the 34 spatulas. We had a 20,
You never know how many things you need to flip. Right?
Yeah. I mean, there's only so many eggs you can cook at once, but don't put anything past you.
Well, you got your camping spatula.
Yeah.
You got your main kitchen spatula.
Exactly.
I don't know, your backyard spatula.
You got your guest spatula.
Guest spatula in case they need to flip anything.
Exactly. Your wedding spatula.
If the J-dubs come to the door, maybe they need to flip something.
Exactly.
You never know, man.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to clown on Mormons once.
Thank you. I want to ask about trials.
Yes.
Do you have a tally somewhere? Like where is your count of how many trials you've done?
Let's see. I know that in the last 4 years I've done 15. It got a little weird around COVID because of the
Wait. Things got weird.
Jury trials.
I know,
got
don't
weird.
say.
It's
During
hard
COVID,
Hard to imagine.
Things were a little weird around COVID era, but we only track felony jury trials. We don't track bench trials, so we don't track domestic violence trials or traffic trials or anything like that. That number, I have no idea. It's many. But yeah, felony jury trials, quite a few. I know 2 years ago, I did more trials than other departments did because
What team were you on at the time?
fraud.
Really?
So I've been up to the Supreme Court. Actually, gosh, I was up there 2 weeks ago, on a fraud trial, and I was up there a month ago on another fraud trial because historically the district attorney's office hasn't taken a lot of fraud or elder abuse or elder exploitation cases to trial. And when I started on fraud, that they just one after another, after another, after another. So we are now up at the Supreme Court really looking at, hey, we've never really considered the depths of the law on this before. So every case that I'm taking up is, well, this is new.
Oh,
Wait a minute. You mean Nevada doesn't have like a
they have some case law, man.
just a bunch of case law on
They got
on
some.
on
We're getting
topic?
better.
That's crazy.
We're getting
I would
better.
never have imagined.
Well, you meet every 2 years for the legislature, so things don't move as quickly as other states. So
I don't know, dude. I went to law school in New York from Kansas. So like when I was researching stuff in law school, I'm looking at those two states primarily, and then I ended up getting the job with the DA's office and come out here, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, I remember how easy it was to find things. It'll be easy in appeals. And it's just like, what? I know how to do research. Where are the cases?
Right.
Oh, they don't exist.
Right.
I got lucky because at the time it was just when they had switched to where the Court of Appeals decisions mattered.
yeah, 2016, I think. it was.
Yeah. I started in 2017, so that was good. There was some case law, and I know it's better now, but at the time it was like, this sucks. And I get it. It's not like anybody's fault necessarily. It's just kind of how the chips fell. But when you're used to some other states, and I'm sure you've done analogous research in other states, and you just find a pile of stuff.
Yeah.
Right. That's what gets you there. Is there's not enough here, and it's not fun.
Well, what's crazy about elder exploitation law is there's not a lot in other states either. For whatever reason, not a lot of elder exploitation or fraud cases make it to trial. I really don't understand why, but that's the problem.
Do you think the fear of the victims testifying, because you have elderly folks that you're going to have to bring to trial to testify, and that's kind of
maybe they pass away because they're old.
Maybe, yeah. I had one where in the time between the complaint and the trial, my victim unfortunately was really getting worse with dementia, and so he had to testify from a memory care facility, and it was for the purpose of determining whether he was going to be available for testimony or not, and the judge ultimately decided that no, he's completely unavailable from a mental acuity standpoint.
Sure. So what does that do to your case? Kills it?
No. Functionally, with that case, he had testified at the grand jury.
Okay.
And under the circumstances, we can use grand jury testimony, even though it was rough because he was starting dementia at that point, even when he was testifying, and it was a little weird. But there was quite a bit of testimony in the guardianship case that was going on concurrently. So when he was doing the guardianship case, with dementia patients can go really, really clear some days and really, really not clear some days. During the guardianship testimony, he was sharp as a tack. So we were able to pull in that testimony and a lot of the pleadings from that case.
Cross-examined during the guardianship
He was.
test? Okay, I was going to say, because you're
And
potentially, because grand jury, there is no cross-examination, so
no,
you got
he
a
was.
confrontation clause issue that's going to be fatal, I would imagine, if you didn't have that.
And the defendant also testified at depositions in the guardianship case.
Oh, wow.
So that also came into the case as well. So
Sure.
part of being able to navigate that other area of guardianship law was really the defining factor as far as that case goes.
What's the range of punishment on this kind of stuff? Like, just generally speaking.
It depends on what it is you're looking at. So elder exploitation can carry a penalty of category B from a maximum of 8 to 20 years. It's dependent upon the amount that was exploited financially.
Right.
If it's elder abuse, it's 8 to 20, and it doesn't really matter the extent of it.
And when you're saying
necessarily.
abuse, you mean like something physical?
Something physical, yeah.
Okay.
It's the same range of penalties, but we're not looking as much at the extent of injury unless it involves substantial bodily harm or death. And then again, we're looking at 8 to 20. I've tried one of those cases. That was terrible.
That doesn't get them into second?
No.
Really?
Yeah. It's a
Are you talking like care facilities or family members?
ordinarily this comes from family members or caretakers who are negligent. That's the overwhelming majority of the abuse cases that we deal with. The active abuse of elders is exceptionally rare.
Okay. I don't know. I just remember growing up. How old are you?
I'm 44.
Okay, I just turned 40. And there was always those like news segments where they expose something, right? And they put some cameras in someplace. And you'll see somebody who's like a CNA or whatever at a nursing home just beating the crap out of somebody. And it's all blurred out or whatever. And it's just like this shocking video. And so I would just, growing up, I just assumed that it was something that happened with some frequency because at least made the news in Kansas, right? So when it does happen, obviously it's going to get a lot of attention because it's awful. I would just imagine that would happen sometimes too.
It does. It does happen, but it is rare.
And good. I'm not saying I want it to happen.
No,
but it's just
no,
like,
and that's great.
I'm thinking of
Thankfully,
things.
that kind of thing is rare. The sad thing is it normally just comes from just sheer negligence. It's people who just kind of check out on their duties that they've assumed to care for these elder folks or these vulnerable folks, because the statute also addresses vulnerable people. People that have had strokes in their 30s and are now physically unable to take care of themselves, and they're in a nursing home, and the nurses might steal their debit cards and go out on the town. I've had those kind of cases. That's
I had one of those, and I was just like, "You're such an idiot, lady." I was so mad at her. So mad at her.
It's great and it's terrible because when you have these cases, it gets to this part of you that it creates this need to protect, because these are the most vulnerable people in our communities. They are not able to take care of themselves, and they depend 100% upon the people around them to make sure that they are alive, that they are eating, that they are taken care of in every way. And so there's so much responsibility on those people, and sometimes people just stop caring. And that can lead to, in my case, that a man never walks again, or even death. And sometimes that's coupled with financial exploitation of the person who's in that position. So it's doubly bad.
And I'm sure in my mind, you see some of the cases, but there are so many of these cases that are unreported, I would assume, because the elderly folk that, are being abused, the abuser's not allowing them to see other people.
Correct.
So I'm sure it is part of it's like, oh man, this is the one that we have and we've caught, and there's so many uncaught folks out there that are doing probably even worse things that nobody ever finds out about. So I would just imagine that there's a lot of emotions that you're going through on those specific cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for them to, in anything that doesn't have a voice, right? Which I think is why we create these special protections, animal cases,
Children,
right? Like one of the off-grid, we call them off-grid felonies in Kansas because it doesn't follow the sentencing guidelines. It's literally set up like a graph. This is your history. This is the offense level. We come to the spot and it's either, there's like a little bar graph in the middle that separates this. It's like presumptive probation on this side, presumptive prison on this side. The worse of a guy you were criminal history-wise, and the worse the offense, the more likely you go to prison.
Right.
But then there are special ones. Like malicious torture or killing of an animal. Doesn't matter. Could be your first offense. You're going to jail.
Right.
Right. Because, we take, as we should, I think, as a society of humans who are compassionate and caring, and we aren't animals, right? We need to protect things that cannot protect themselves.
Right.
But it also is like a weird double-edged thing because then the things that can't protect themselves can't speak for themselves.
Right.
And I don't know, man. I don't like that stuff. My grandma was a victim of fraud. It was very minor, but still somebody like hacked her card or something. It was through Facebook. And it's just, she's not super with it. Was a nurse assistant in Kansas, so she was smart enough back in her day, but she was always kind of, just a country gal, not super sophisticated, let's say, in certain
If she
things.
gets a message on Facebook from the president, that's a real message.
President,
Yeah.
I don't even know what it was. It was some guy. It was. And here's the shitty thing. It was after my grandpa.
The crappy
died.
thing is
Crappy thing. Sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Cox. It was after my grandpa had died, and so she's a little lonely, and some guy messaged her about whatever, and she's thinking, oh, I'm going to get a boyfriend, and it turns out it was some dude that wasn't who he said he was. I don't know, man. I hate that. I actually had a case. I forget. It stayed on track. It never got to you guys, but it was he had the setup for a fraud lab and an SBR and a bunch of other things. And one day when I left talking to him in the jail, I walked outside and I didn't think about how he could still hear me. And I was like, man, I hate these kind of cases. These guys are such assholes. And he's like, I can hear you, right? And I'm like, my bad, man. Somebody like you just ripped off my grandma. I wasn't. My bad. All right. I got him a good deal and he was very happy with it, but there was definitely some animosity there. And it's a super hard thing to defend.
It is.
I mean, at least you get to be the hammer, right?
Yeah. So
you find the nail and you smash it.
Well, to what you're saying, we've been dealing with a explosion of phone scams, romance scams, and a number of different scams.
Romance scams.
So
don't you try it.
Romance scams.
Isn't that our partnership already? A romance scam?
Yep. It starts out as, hey,
innocent.
I think the line goes, it started out with a kiss. How did it end up like this?
Correct.
Right? There we go.
That's just the price you pay.
Sorry. Anyway.
So what happens with the romance scams is, you'll start out on, I don't know, name a dating website, and it's always directed at women from the ones that we're working at. And there's a reason for that I'll get to. So these fellas contact lonely, older women who are single, who don't have any support network, and they develop a relationship. And this is a long con, 6-7 months. When you get to that kind of relationship online and you feel like this is a real person who really loves me and cares about me, you're much more likely to do what they say because you want to make that person happy and you trust them. So this takes time to develop, but ultimately they will start asking you for money. They will start asking you to do things for money. They will start asking you to do things at work for money. They will misdirect funds from their employers to these people because they believe that they're going to do any number of stories that they're told. And
oh, he's been kidnapped. He needs $10,000 for ransom.
He was about to fly out, but then his daughter's
or
sick.
because you believe that in one specific instance, you're talking to Keanu Reeves, and that you believe with all of your heart and soul that Keanu Reeves is actually very much in love with you and that you are his number one biggest fan. And
man, I wish he was in love with me.
Yeah.
He is pretty dope, dude.
And when Keanu Reeves calls you up and you've built that kind of relationship with him, yeah, exactly. You can give me two. So at that point, you believe that you're talking to Keanu Reeves. And when he says, hey, you know what? I'm doing a great big buffet in Florida because I'm doing this big convention, but I need some money to cover the cost because, all these fans are going to be there, but I'm just short of cash at the moment. Can you please send, like $30,000? I know it's a big buffet, but it's going to go to this.
Listen, it's going to be Gator, all right?
Well, I can only do 10. That's okay. That'll be fine.
Right. And so when Keanu's asking you, you do what Keanu tells. So you send this check in the mail to Keanu out in Iowa, and there it goes. So and that,
How do they cash it?
Yeah. Well,
If it's not a wire.
Well, make it out to my business, please. ICE.
Oh, okay.
What is
right.
What is?
And it sounds crazy in retrospect. It's not crazy to the people that are going through it. This is a long, long time where you believe you've built an honest and decent relationship with someone.
Do you not remember the Nigerian prince emails? Mm-hmm. The reason that we kept getting them for like 15 years is because people kept falling for that crap, right? Like, it sucks.
We just had a fellow that was sentenced. He was a money mule. And what's happening in those cases is people are calling false Amazon or Walmart or Microsoft customer support services. They Google Amazon support and they get a 1-800 number that they believe is the right number. But then you're routed to, in quotations, Amazon customer service. Oh, I'm sorry. It looks like there's been a problem with your social security number. Let me transfer you to the bank. Then they transfer you to, quote, the bank. Then you talk to someone at the bank who says, you know what, this has to be elevated. We're forwarding you to the FTC or the Office of the Inspector General. And then that starts another scam. So then you start
The bank?
Right. So then you start getting, all of this information from the FTC or the Office of the Inspector General with realistic looking credentials. And what these people are being told is, hey, there's been a breach with your social security number and we're going to have to assign you a new one. But because we're assigning you a new one, you can't have your funds in your current bank anymore because they can't be held under your social security number. So we're going to set up a new social security number and you need to take all the money out of your accounts and send it to us at the feds. We'll deposit it in the bank so that you know that all of your funds are taken care of. And they're very, very good at this. And it takes months to develop these relationships. They will send the most convincing looking paperwork ever to these people.
Snail mail or email?
Snail mail, email.
Okay.
They will send...
Because that's the one trick you tell people when it's an IRS thing is they always mail you a letter. They don't call you first. If you've got a problem, you're going to get a letter first.
In this specific in this specific case, my victim got a very... real-looking Department of Treasury check for the amount that was to be deposited into her, quote, bank account. So this defendant shows up to collect the cash in person. He was caught, and then afterwards...
How much cash?
He had $44,000 in that one. So while he was talking, he was explaining how this whole process works, and he says he's one of about 1,000 people worldwide that are working on this scam at all times, and told the FBI that it doesn't matter what you do to me, the people above me are never going to stop because this is far too well run and well organized to stop, and it's far too lucrative. So he also blamed, curiously, Americans, and what his words were.
Was he not American?
No, he was not. He is originally Ukrainian.
Oh, okay.
Also Hungarian passport. He lived in the UK and knows 5 or 6 languages. But it's his job to drive across America, fly across America, and pick up these boxes of cash from dozens and dozens and dozens of victims. And he said, the only way to stop this is to have Donald Trump go on a teleconference and warn all the babushkas that this is going on. Those were his words. And he's right. The only way that we can stop these kind of crimes is with awareness. It's unfortunate. And if you don't really understand how these scams work or that they exist in the first place, they're just going to keep going on.
Well, and the other crappy thing is that this guy got caught because he was here. But think about all those people that are in a call center that's got hundreds or thousands of employees that are literally just the entire day. Amazon gift card, scam.
Yep.
Not pointing any fingers at certain countries, but there's a couple of countries that I think we all get annoyed by when you get those phone calls.
And artificial intelligence is just going to help.
That's going to make
us.
it worse. I could
With
offer a
fake
solution.
voices.
It's called a JDAM, which is a big bomb. It's like 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's your solution to everything.
No, I'm not saying nuke the internet.
Not
but
the
like,
internet, no.
Like if you did a drone strike on a couple of these call center facilities, think
All
about
right,
what-
all right. Let's stop there.
Hey, if we can get Venezuelan gunboats.
Are you on board with that, Austin? What's your official position?
I can't say that I'm pro preemptive strikes.
post?
I can't quite take that position.
Obviously, no extrajudicial killings. We haven't done that since a different administration.
Well, yeah.
But no, it's very frustrating. And like every time I get the phone call, I have the wherewithal to turn it, to shut it off or whatever. I will admit though, I screw with them. I'll be like, oh, hold on, I got to do this. What was the phone number again? Oh, I'm putting it in. And then they'll eventually start cussing at you and they do it in like a really weird, crappy, broken English. And it is hilarious. I love making them mad. And I hope that I've caused one or more to have elevated blood pressure.
Or to
whatever.
quit.
Or to quit. I
Or
doubt it.
take up their time and not.
Yeah, just then they can't get
else.
somebody's grandma. But it does suck, man, because like, these are crimes that they can never really prosecute some of these people for. And that's the bigger issue, right? And that's why the Hydra will never get killed.
Right.
Because you can cut off a couple of the heads and then
that's
15 more pop up.
Exactly
but the big
what he
ones,
said.
The 1,000 or whatever, you're never going to get them.
I want to ask about a trial that you had. We
Oh my
we
God.
came and watched some of it.
I remember this
You're
one, yeah.
remembering?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember us being there or not, but we talked about it.
Wasn't it him and Sammy?
It was. I don't think Sammy was with you. We talked about it on the podcast. We had one of your jurors on the podcast.
Oh wow.
Okay. It is not a fraud case. It had to do. I don't remember the defendant's name. Had to do with the divorce and a divorce attorney.
Michael Harris.
Okay. All right. That is right.
Was it Indian style? Indian country or
Nail
something?
you to a tree, Indian country style.
Yeah. So this was.
I was born in Oklahoma and raised in Kansas. I never heard that phrase before. So I don't know what he's talking about.
So, I guess remind us a little bit about this case that you had. I'm guessing that you were brought on for trial. You weren't assigned to the case. You're just brought on for trial. Is that how this one worked out?
So I was assigned to this case for two reasons. One, my unit is major fraud, elder exploitation, and criminal intelligence. And criminal intelligence is a wide range of things, and often it includes things like going after the powerful, people who are politically connected, attorneys, officers, people that have a lot more focus on them. So this case came to our department because it was an attorney-on-attorney crime, and the victim is a good friend of my team chief, Colleen Brown now. And because of that friendship, she couldn't do it. So I took the case for the conflict. So that's how that came to me.
Gotcha. Okay. And
So were you just on it for trial or did you work it up?
Oh no, I worked that up from day one.
Okay. And I think it was your friend. She's at the AG's office now, right? Wasn't she co-counsel? Do you remember who was co-counsel with you?
It wasn't Dominique.
No, it was Dolly.
It was Dolly?
Dolly Emanuel.
I don't remember
that's
seeing
right.
her on it. Okay.
Why did I think it was Sammy? I don't know. I'm an idiot. Whatever.
So we talked a bit about that trial on here because we were looking through the eyes of the juror, who was a friend of mine. And just randomly, we knew that she was on a jury. And after everything was done, we wanted to ask her, her experience through her eyes.
Not so much about the case specifically, but just about being a juror on a case.
That was more generally what it was. I can't remember what she said about you. Great hair, like we can all agree on that.
I'll take that.
Like your hair is always on point. Like I'm very jealous. I haven't been able to get to the barber in a
I
while.
wake up like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the tie's already done.
already.
Yeah. I sleep in my suit. It's how I do.
All right, John Wick, relax.
So since we talked about it, I wanted to see if there was anything like that we may have missed in the case. Like we heard closings. To me, it was one of those things that's against the law. He broke the law.
Right.
But I don't know what the punishment ended up being either.
He got like a 19 to 48, didn't he?
He got, I believe he got a 24, no, I want to say 19 to 60, if I remember correctly.
But he probably wouldn't have gone to prison but for some of his own actions in the middle of the case, right?
Yeah.
That was my take on.
Well, he was in custody during as well, right? Like
Right, but
I
he
thought he
hadn't
was in
been.
custody. He wasn't, and okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He case is going, he's out, and then he does something else to that same person. He continues to harass or
Correct.
whatever, insert thing that he was admonished not to do by the court, so he's violating a court order.
Right.
And then he got held in custody, and that's why he was in custody during the trial. Otherwise, he would have been, if he would have not done that.
So what had happened was he was originally charged with aggravated stalking, and during the pendency of the aggravated stalking, there was an extended protective order.
Oh, because then you get the EPO. Okay.
Right, so
which is why, what's his face from the
You had
SPD was over
a
there.
public defender as a witness in
Dan
the case.
Martinez.
Yeah,
Yes.
Dan, that's right.
Which was I'm guessing the only time you've had that in one of your cases.
So far, yeah.
Okay. Because the SPD's office was there. They're the ones who actually served this extended protective order.
Correct.
That he's saying he didn't receive. That was, I guess, the crux of the felony part of the case, the bigger crime in your case, right?
Well, no, the extended protective order was a C felony. The aggravated stalking is a category B felony.
Oh, okay.
That one's a 2 to 15. So that was always the bigger charge. What got him back in custody was violating the extended protective order pending preliminary hearing for the aggravated stalking.
Right.
So Judge Goodman remanded him without bail pending trial because of your aggravated stalking, you're violating an extended protective order. He had no patience for that.
Well, the writing on the wall is there that you are going to potentially do something that is going to be a breach of the public safety.
Right.
Facing criminal charges isn't stopping you.
No.
You know, like what
extended
is
order
going to stop you?
Isn't stopping you.
Yeah.
So their relationship, he was the husband of her client, right? Her client was the wife.
Yes.
Okay. Again, not family, but this is one of the reasons I don't do family law, because there's so much emotion that gets wrapped up into those particular cases. And I can't even imagine what it'd be like for child custody cases.
Oh, I'm sure.
If someone's getting their rights whittled away or stripped from them, and you are the focus because you're the attorney on the other side, I don't know, man. It just seems like, again, I'm not saying it's justified what he did, but I mean, you can tell that it's an emotional thing, and he maybe wasn't even like thinking right.
Right.
Did he have a record?
No, he didn't. What he, how to best describe it? He was an attorney for some time and then kind of stopped being an attorney and started being more of an activist for a number of different causes. So he didn't have really a record, but he had a history of troublemaking. I don't really have another way to describe it.
Okay.
The activism that he pursued.
Sure. You're talking like splashing Van Gogh with tomato paste or that kind of stuff?
Nothing that severe. More
But that kind of thing.
Yeah, things that are concerning.
Okay.
Run-ins with police and, you know, negative police encounters, right? That's kind of one thing we talk about in criminal law. We've gone on quite a bit. Obviously, you have experience, you know, with criminal law. We had Colleen Brown on who talked how the kind of criminal law you guys do coincides with civil a ton, and that's the seat you're seeking is a split criminal civil seat. What makes you want to be a judge?
The same thing that made me love my job as a law clerk. So when I started, I thought, for example, that I'd never have to deal with property law again after law school. I thought, well, I'm never gonna have to run into that again. But
What is the rule against perpetuities?
right? So never have to deal with that. But then immediately, a month after I started as a law clerk, that HOA super priority lien SFR investments pool 1 versus US Bank, I think it was, comes out, and suddenly everything we know about super priority liens and property law going back to the days of English chancery, it completely flipped on its head. So now we've got this world of brand new civil litigation, and it's making everyone in the legal community, okay, everything you know just got changed. Now we're starting over. How does this work constitutionally? How does this work from a property law standpoint? How does this work from a banking standpoint? How do we navigate this whole new field? And so as I'm going through these cases, because they're just coming in and in and in, I loved the civil law part of it because it was all brand new, and there were so many tangled things about the civil litigation going on with that caused me to love what I was doing immediately. So the more I worked in these cases, the more litigation I had to go through, the more decisions I had to write. That called to me, that need to get deeper and deeper and deeper into the understanding, because I don't like not knowing things. When I'm presented with something new, I want to learn all about it. So my mentor as far as litigation goes was Judge Early, who was just a legendary trial attorney in medical malpractice in the area. She taught me how her process works. the most important thing to her in the whole world was trial, how to litigate, how to win, how to do the practice of law. So watching her work, watching Judge Miley work, being able to learn from all the other judges in the building, which is such a great experience because everyone's just, one floor up or one floor down if you need a question. That part of this, the academic part of law, it just appealed to me immediately. And I thought, you know what, no matter what, later on, I want to be a judge. I want to do this. I want to get back behind the bench and get back into this position. Being an advocate is a little weird sometimes for me because you are representing, a victim and you're representing the law and so on. But sometimes you just want to sit and get into the law and learn more. And you want to do the right thing, the most correct thing, regardless of anyone's position in the case. So that position of neutrality, the position of just wanting to know the law and apply it correctly, that gets to me. That same way that working with vulnerable victims gets to me. It's something just kind of grabs you and says, this is your thing. You like this, and I'm gonna get real into this thing. So that's as far as I could explain it. It's just sometimes certain positions call to you, and being a judge calls to me.
So is that something that you've known at some point you were going to try to do this from the beginning?
Yeah, because really I let myself open to, hey, all I want to do when I start being an attorney is try everything. I want to do it all, and I just want to avoid things that I don't like. But as a law clerk and as having the latitude to get into all these different areas of law and the latitude, the right to these decisions and to work with these judges, that was just the best part. So I thought, yeah, no matter what, I'm going to come back and do this at some point. I'm going to learn how to litigate. I'm going to learn how to be a trial attorney. I'm going to learn as much as I possibly can. And then I want to do this again. This is the thing.
And what year did you get licensed?
2016.
Okay. Yeah, your number's a little bit lower than mine. I knew you were a little bit ahead of me. So one question, this is a little out of order, but it's something I thought of I didn't get to ask. So I know from cases that we've had that you have regular victims and then you have not regular victims. For example, famous people or people that own a lot of property in our town. Does that ever pose any kind of difficulty, like with those people? Like, are they ever more demanding, or is it a situation where it's like, whatever, you're going to deal with it? Because I've always wondered that. Like, the case I'm talking about specifically, but I'm not going to, mention names. And so I was like, I could see them getting angry that somebody did that to them, but I also could see them, because they're as wealthy and whatever as they are, being like, all right, whatever,
It's back and forth, and I don't want to do the classic "it depends" answer,
Right,
but it really is back and forth. It depends on.
Well, it's all personality, right? So one person might really give you a hard time as a victim, and the other one might do their thing.
I've had celebrity clients who have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in cases, and it's a rounding error, and it's just
that was a fraction of a penny. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Habibi, it's fine.
Yeah. Are you going to show up for court? Nah.
I don't have time for that. Yeah.
Listen, you know how much it's going to cost me to fly there and waste my day? I'll make that much money back. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I had to go through that with one famous local celebrity who just refused to come into court, and I tried every way that I could. I'm like, hey, just so you know, I have to get rid of this case if you don't show up. Like, you've been defrauded out of a great deal of money. He was in Brazil and he just didn't have time for it.
As long as they're not blaming you and saying, why can't you do it without me? You're not good enough to do it without me. Like, that would set me off.
I've had that before. Yeah.
I'm sure there's people that say that all the time.
Right? But to your point too, yeah, there are some clients who are very, do you know who I am type of clients. And it can be difficult. And that's...
Have you ever had any of them say, my father?
When Daddy hears about this.
Yes, well, after Mr. Malfoy and his son, appeared in my office,
No, you have a Potter in your office now, too.
Potter.
Potter. Harry Potter, the prisoner of Afghanistan.
Oh, yes, good old Barrick.
I just think it's hilarious. I've said that since I was in high school. I think it's funny. It's Azkaban. I know, I'm just making a joke.
First joke you made. Good job.
I'm going to grab you by your neck.
That's fine, too. That'd be a crime.
No, it'd be more romance.
A simple crime.
It'd be more romance. It'd be more romance. You can't get in the way of this.
Right.
And don't kink shame me either.
Yeah, it is different from my perspective and from also Colleen's perspective. And not to speak for her, but I know she feels the same about this, is how most of our cases as prosecutors, we represent the state and not necessarily the victim. With our cases, it is much more victim-centric. Usually, like you said, because of power or because of influence or because of amount of money involved. I have clients who have had millions and millions of dollars taken from them, and understandably, they're quite upset about it. And they can be difficult. But surprisingly, some people that have lost the most are the most understanding. Really kind human beings. They want justice, but
They forgive.
Not that they forgive, but that they're kind to work with. They understand that, hey, look, yeah, I'm your prosecutor. I'm not necessarily your attorney. I'm trying to do what's best for you, but also I'm also working for free here. I'm working for the state of Nevada, and I'm doing, civil criminal crossover stuff here, but I'm here to serve because this is the right thing to do. And the victims who get that are wonderful, really, really good people. So there's a lot of joy in being able to work with those type of folks.
Yeah, I found whenever I was a prosecutor that one of the things that you find is some people understood that what we're trying to do is balance things. We're doing justice.
Yeah.
And some of the other ones didn't want that. They want a pound of flesh. And in some cases, you can't get it. Even if you get the maximum allowable, it's never going to make them happy. No. And it was a lot more difficult. I don't miss that aspect of it. But you still get to deal with it. The interesting thing here is, as a defense attorney now, I see cases where I have civil that's attached. Like there was a criminal thing that happened, and I represent them in the civil case. And the prosecutors are like, well, blah, blah, blah. And the victim's, hard charging. And I'm like, bro, keep that same energy whenever I'm on the defense side. What are you doing here? It's very complicated, and I definitely don't miss being over there for sure for that reason. So we've talked about why you wanted to be a judge. So I guess the $1 million question is what are you going to bring special? And again, not talking about anybody else, talking about you.
Sure.
What are you going to bring to the table that sets you apart from other candidates?
So I bring a focus to the law that is completely divorced from my own ego. I don't care about whether I am right or wrong. I'm not there to put on a black robe and say my word is law. I don't think that's the position. I think the position is this is a complicated issue that's come in front of an arbiter who has no stake in the matter and just wants to do the right thing by the law. I believe that I am different from my opponent in that aspect. Additionally, I don't want to be casting aspersions, but as far as our personalities go, I don't think we could be much more opposite. I'm a generally very calm and even-keeled person. It doesn't take much. It takes a lot to rattle me. And I care deeply about, what I do and the people that I work with. And unlike my opponent, the reason that I'm running is for the voters. I'm running for the people of Clark County because I worked a completely different field for about 15 years prior to becoming an attorney. I work with my hands. I know what it's like to work for a living. I know what it's like to work up the chain. I've run businesses. I've turned businesses around. I've saved hotels. I have done real work just like everybody else in Clark County does every day, day in and day out. So chances are, if you have a job in Clark County where you're working for a hotel or a small business or manual labor or construction or anything like that, I understand what it's like to be you. And I think that anyone who's voting for anyone just wants someone in that position who they can see themselves in and who understands them back. So that's, I think, the biggest difference between me and the current judge in Department 8 is that I've been there. I am here for you. I'm here for the attorneys. I'm here to make sure that your cases are respected, that you as a professional are respected, and that every client that you have is respected. I don't think that the courtroom is a place for antagonistic shouting. I don't think it's a place where, like I said, your ego gets in the way of the proper application of the law. I'm here to serve. I've been called to serve my entire life. I tried to do it through the military. Ultimately, I didn't make it in. I'm the only one of my brothers who didn't. So I served in another way. I served through hospitality. I served through being a prosecutor, and I'd like to serve as a judge.
Excellent. When can they? When's the next thing for you? Like it's primaries, right?
No, we don't have
primaries
primaries.
Because there's only
just
two. Okay,
yeah.
so it's November then.
Yeah.
Okay, November.
Do you know the date? You should
Third.
know the date. November
Third.
3rd. He's got it.
Got it on the calendar. Wrote it down.
First Tuesday in November.
So they need to get registered if they're not, and then just go vote, right?
Exactly.
But also, and I'm assuming that you would agree with this, get informed.
Exactly.
Figure out who you want to vote for as an individual, whether that be you in this department, your opponent in this department, other departments, other judge or other races that aren't judges. Equally as important, right? Very much.
Anyone in Clark County can vote for you.
Anyone in
correct?
Clark County, like I said, Mesquite to Laughlin, everyone's involved. I'm going to be on the ballot everywhere in the county.
Nice. Well, it was a pleasure having you on, and it's been a pleasure working across from you. I can unequivocally say you're not one of the ones that is overly difficult just to be difficult. So it's nice when you take a very reasoned approach. So I can vouch for you in that respect, from having worked across from you in a few cases now, even in cases where you had me dead to rights. There's nothing I can do. You did show, like you're talking about, that level of understanding about the human side of it, and so I can appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks, Austin.
appreciate you.
Thank you guys so much.
Peace.
Next time it's
We got Pete the Nell.
Pete the Nell.
All right.
Next episode.
Running them through.
Yeah, we got a ton on.
More potential judges.
That's great.
Peace.
All right. See ya.